In this video, I'm going to do again step by step, but much more quickly what I've done in the last video. I'm again going to define the length function systematically. The idea is to just do it every bit of the way once again, but much more quickly, so that you can look at it perhaps as a reference or as a recap of the overall process. So I started here already with the module header, hiding the prelude version of length and enabling all warnings, and I have my file available in GHCi. Now I'm going to start with the type signature. Right, that's the first step. And then I'm going to immediately introduce function arguments for the list, and I'm going to put a hole here. At this point, I'm going to say, okay, right now I don't have the knowledge to define the length function in one go by means of referring to some other function. So instead, I'm going to do a pattern match on the list. So now I'm splitting this programming problem into two subparts, one for the empty list and one for the non-empty list formed by means of cons. And I'm going to give names such as x and access to the arguments of the cons. And then perhaps for aesthetic reasons, I'm going to align the two equality symbols. And then I'm trying to solve the problems. So the first problem here says I need to put an int here for the empty list, so that is easy to answer in this case. So we put a 0 here, so the length of an empty list is 0. And in the second case, we do keep in mind, right, that we want to make a recursive call to the length of the tail. So that is something that we always keep in the back of our minds. So basically, we're trying to answer the question, if we already have the length of the tail, how do we get to the length of the full list? And xcons access is exactly one element longer than access. So if we have the length of access, we can just add 1 to it. And at this point, we're essentially done. Now it's good to perhaps do a final reflection on the function and see whether there's anything we can improve. And one thing that immediately comes to mind, of course, is this warning that is already highlighted here, that we're having given a name to x, but we're not using it. So we might want to replace the x here with an underscore to get rid of that warning. At this point, at least from our current perspective, everything about the function looks fine. So at this point, we should still load it and actually try it out and see whether it behaves sensibly. But it seems to. And that's it.